Good evening. It's Jan with Midweek Mojo with Jan Moss. Hope you're doing well, and it should be Wednesday evening at 7:15, hopefully. And if you're looking to start your own product business, then you're in the right place. So welcome, and come and see us again next Wednesday evening. We do these recordings every Wednesday evening, or live recordings, and we're very much looking forward to your questions. So I'm having problems with seeing them online at the moment, so just drop them in the comments box. If I don't get to be able to do them online, then I will do them afterwards. But let's get straight in with it. So what is your own product business? Well, it's a little bit different to a network marketing business or an affiliate business where you're just recommending other people's products. This is where you're creating your own products, and it doesn't have to be from scratch. There's lots of different things that you could promote, you could have as your own products, and I'll get into that in a minute as to how to do it. But first of all, think about things that you might like to offer to people. And if you already have an audience, then you obviously need to think about your audience and what they would like. So things start not with the product, would you believe, but they start with the problem before the product. So if somebody had, say, your audience had problems sleeping, perhaps you could offer them a product that would help with their sleep, or with things to do with like blinds or earplugs or stuff like that. It's finding things that would help the people that you are already have an audience for. If you don't have an audience already, you probably have interests and stuff like that. So look at the problems that the people would have in your interests. You know, perhaps like one of mine is metal detecting. So and I belong to a ladies metal detecting group, and one of the biggest things that they're always talking about is what do they do when they need to go to the loo in the middle of the field. And so maybe go and find ideas of different sort of very discreet little tents for hottie tents, or I don't know. We won't go too far into that one, but you get the idea. So I'd like you to have a think about this. If you're interested in setting up your own product business, think about those sort of things. What sort of products would you be interested in? Could it be clothing? Could it be personal training? Like, could it be yoga mats, the wristbands? Beauty products do you like? Makeup or skincare? And some sort of health products, supplements. And don't worry, you don't have to do all these from scratch. Remember, just think about the things that you're interested in. Stationery, I love stationery. I was caught in a stationery cupboard once when I was temping, just staring at the stationery, and this guy was looking very suspiciously at me, and I thought, oh my goodness, he thinks I'm coming to steal it. I said, oh, I'm really sorry, I just love looking at stationery. I just think it's so pretty. And he went, oh yeah, me too. Please have a stationery game as well. Wool, I absolutely love wool as well. Love gazing at wool. Pet care, if you've got a dog or a cat or a rabbit or any other weird and wonderful animal that. So just as we're going through, just jot things down that you think you're interested in, what sort of products. And then the second part is, how would you get started? So what has sprung to mind? Have you been writing them down, the problems, the solution that it would cause? You can start off by Googling white label companies. So do you know what a white label company is? I wouldn't believe if you didn't, because I didn't used to know about these things. It's a company that produces something that hasn't got a brand originally. It's a completely, perhaps white. That's why they call it white label, but it doesn't have to be literally white. But and then you design or create like a brand name for it, brand design, and for the packaging that's already there, and they will print it on there and send it out, and it can be your brand then. So it's something that's already made. Obviously, you'd need to check that the quality and the ingredients, if it's a product that you would be eating or putting on your skin or whatever, are up to standard, etc. But yeah, you don't actually have to make it yourself. Now, excuse me, my hair on my glasses. There we go. Right. Questions you need to ask will be things like, minimum orders. You should be able to get hopefully you'll be able to get like a free sample to see that it is good enough quality. But if you find the thing that you think you find the thing that you want to sell, and if you have, then sorry, that my phone. Always forget to switch my phone off, so I'm going to do that now, and then I'll be able to knock that bit off. Right, okay, right. Uh, yeah, minimum orders. Check the minimum orders and stuff like that. So just check, see if you've got the company's got good reviews. Check out the company in general that you're looking at. Okay, so next of all is cost. So what is the cost of the item that you would have to create? So, for example, and this is an example that Emma Cooper told us about in the community that I belong to, which I'll come to later on in this video. So she used to sell a box of pencils, which she had printed on inspirational quotes on them. The box cost 60 pence and the pencils cost 12 pence. And she had sold them as a box of 5 for £12. So, and obviously it sold because otherwise she wouldn't have done it. So there's a massive upsell on that. And if you have a look at a company called Fair, Faire, there's also a different way of doing it. There's products that you can already made that you can look at as well. So you can get the cost directly off that. But if you're talking about creating your own products, you probably, not from scratch, but if you're talking about creating your own products, the cost would probably, you want to have a budget of at least around £600, I would think, to make sure you've got enough to manufacture enough to make it worthwhile. That's a very estimate figure if you're actually creating your own products, because there's no point in just doing it a couple at a time, because it would be so cost prohibitive if you're just doing them in such a tiny scale. So yeah, to make enough, you're probably looking around £600. So it's not a minimal thing. Okay. Well, some people would go like minimal. So what next? How much time will it take? Well, that is really difficult to say, because I think the time initially is on the research and on the deciding on the product, and then on the designing of the brand or whatever, or what you want to put on the products. And I think that is definitely the bit that takes the most time. But then, of course, when you've got it made, then it's the marketing of it. And of course, if you're selling it and you bought the product in yourself, then there's the time taken to package it up and post it out. If you're selling on Amazon, they do that for you, but you have to be aware you need to have a really good profit margin on that, a bigger profit margin, because Amazon will take a lot of commission. So what else? So pros and cons. We're going to talk about the pros and cons. So the pros are quite few, manifold. I would say you can get a really, really good profit margin on these things. And don't just think, oh, well, I've made it for this, I'll put a couple of quid on. You can make a really decent profit margin on these things. And don't worry, it's not like you're cheating people. It's your risk, your effort, and everything else. It's you that's putting all that. There's no point. Shops don't sell things like for pennies profit. These big companies don't do that. So why should you? Basically, it's not worth your time just for making 5 pence or something if you can make a few pounds. Okay, you have full control of the process. You can the branding and the packaging, you've got full control, and you can grow and scale the business. Now, if you don't know what that means yet, then that's no problem either. So if you're using advertising, say if you're using a Facebook ad and it costs you £10 and you made £100 in sales from that £10, and you checked that, you monitored it, and that was the case ongoingly, then it would make sense that if you then spent £20 on advertising, how much would you get in sales? 200. Yeah, that's right. So obviously it's not going to be definitely precise, but if you monitor it over a period and it's consistent, then you should know that the figures. Make sure you're watching the figures, and then you can spend that extra money, and you can make a bigger profit, so you can grow and scale it. The creativity is completely up to you. You can do what you will with the products, obviously within reason. Mustn't be something rude or whatever. But it could be. Anyway, moving swiftly on. And you can choose whether you're going to be the face of the brand or not. I mean, obviously somebody like Victoria Beckham is definitely the face of her brand, but Marks and Spencer's products, there is no particular person. It's Marks and Spencer's that's the brand itself. Now, what are the cons of having a product business? So, well, the upfront costs, and that is definitely one of the cons of this. So you would have to have a budget to start with. However, once you've done all your research and if you realise how much it's going to cost you to get your first order in, what you could do is some sort of launch in advance, so that you create the sales before you start. So as long as you know how long it's going to take, you can't do a launch and then it's going to take 6 months to get the product, because that's not you're going to lose all your money before. I know everybody want the money back, but if it's something that you have already got created but it's just about due to be ready or something like that, you can do a pre-launch and get all your orders in, have people pay so that you've got the money to pay out. But you have to make sure that there's very little room for things going wrong, and it is all ready to go. Otherwise, you'll be having a lot of time sending money back. And that is one of the other pros, and that is, or cons, should I say, is the customer service. That is the biggest pain in the bum. Can be the amount of people that ask the most silly things. Like you might have. I used to do drop shipping on eBay, and although it's different, it's still a case of me having to do customer service. And you might put the size of something, everywhere on the description and a photograph of it, and then people would still message and say, oh, well, it's arrived and it's smaller than I thought it was going to be. And yet you've got the sizes there and everything, and I want my money back because it's too small. What can you say? So that is a definite one. And then it takes time to do your research, time to find your suppliers, and it can take time to get your products, especially if you're purchasing from abroad, say Hong Kong or something like that, which is it's a common place to get your products from. You have to get canny with your stock levels. Have you got enough? If you've got too much, you don't want to be filling your garage and then find out that nobody's buying it, so you've got left with stock. And yeah, I've said the customer support. So those are most of the cons. Oh, competition. Now, competition isn't necessarily a con. It can feel like a negative thing, but it means if somebody's already selling something, then there's a market for it. So keep an eye on your competition, because you might find that you get some really good ideas. Obviously, you don't want to copy something exactly, because you could get a lawsuit. But competition is good in terms of that there is a reason for people buying stuff, or people are buying things if there's somebody else selling it. So especially if you can see on Amazon or eBay, sometimes you can see how many sales are going through, or a little bit, get an idea. You have to keep out on the regulations and legislations. Make sure that you're keeping up to date with all those. You're not making false claims, and if like any standard safety standards are kept to and stuff like that. And your cash flow is a big one for some people. You might have a massive order coming in, and you need to purchase the stuff to create the order, but there's that time in between when you paid out for it, you haven't got the money back. So make sure you work that correctly so you've got enough cash at all times. And you can do a little cash flow spreadsheet or something like that. How much can you earn? This is obviously a really good one. And really, that is how long is a piece of string? You've got to look at the manufacture costs and don't like miss out small things that you're doing in your manufacturing. Like if you're just putting a piece of tissue paper around the item before you post it, your packaging, your shipping costs, make sure you calculate everything before you do your pricing, because could completely ruin everything. So you've got your manufacturing costs, you've got your shipping costs, which of course it's come from Hong Kong, could be massive. Compared to the price of the item, it might even be more. And then check out whether you'll be paying VAT and whether you need to have VAT on your own sales, which won't be for some time. And if you're just starting, I would have thought. And then check out how many you would have to, or what volume you'd have to have sold before you start to earn money, because you first 1 to 10, you might not be making any money because you still got the majority of your expenses. It'll take a while before you break even. They used to say it was 3 years before you start to make a profit, but this day and age, I think that you can buy things in a lot smaller volumes, and there's lots of different ways you can do things these days. So I think if you weren't going to make a profit for 3 years, I'd probably choose a different product. So next steps. Well, if you've been thinking about ideas and different sort of products you would like to produce, it could be something like a planner, it could be your station, it could be some pencils, it could be yoga things like your wristbands or your mats, it could be pet products, it could be all sorts of things. Write them down and have a look and see if like I said before, have you got an audience for that already? Or if not, are they in the same audience? So if you were selling dog bowls, for example, personalized dog bowls or branded dog bowls, would that go with the yoga mat? Well, not necessarily, unless your dog's going to be practicing yoga. However, dog chews would be really appropriate for the dog bowls. So bunch them together and see if you could perhaps do some bundles. You could do a bowl and ball set or something like that. Put them into groups and start to then look at the different white goods manufacturers that you could use if they have anything that's appropriate for you. And if you wanted to find out a step-by-step process rather than trying to do it all by yourself, which is probably difficult if you've never done anything like this before. I belong to a brilliant community which is like a subscription community where you can go and learn all about it in the courses. You could just join for a month, do the course and leave. So pop an emoji in the comments. I'm trying to think of an appropriate emoji. I don't know. What would you like to put in? Just put community in the comments, and I can send you that over. Or if you wanted to go to my bio, there's the template there. There's the retiring style blueprint, which has got 5 different proven business streams. I haven't got this one in yet. I'm probably going to change it around so it's got this business stream in there. But at the end, it does have the link to the community. But just put a comment in anyway, and I will get that over to you just so you know which one it is. And I'm hoping that next week we're going to have the amazing Andrea Morrison giving us, or it might not be next week, because I think she started her course already, but there's a lovely lady called Andrea Morrison who's teaching us how to price our own services. So that's more of a service-based business. But if it's not going to be Andrea next week, then I will be talking about something that I'm sure will be of interest, which will be to be announced. So I'll let you know nearer the time. But I hope this has been helpful. Don't forget to pop a comment below if you want to get my free PDF, and make sure you share this if you think anybody else would be keen to find out about it. And do ask any questions if you would like to find out more. And I will see you next week. Take care, everyone.